Bitcoin's alive, what you gon' do? Mempool fees are high. Ordinal. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. It's a revolution, ayy. Bitcoin is the one, no substitution, ayy. With Shizzy and Jacoby, it's Ordinal Revolution.
Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On the channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin Ordinal ecosystem. What is up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. Like always, today we have Chris from Scarce.City, PEPE Flyers. He's doing some really cool stuff with bitmaps. Potentially, he's getting into that type of stuff. So if you're a bitmap holder, this is definitely something that you want to be watching. They got some really cool shoes, some real-world assets they're selling. You're going to be able to bid on some stuff with Scarce.City, and then the PEPE Flyers. You're going to be able to potentially get some really cool shoes, and we're going to get into all that stuff. I'm so interested into hearing it right from Chris. So without further ado, let's get the show started. I'm bringing my partner, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What up?
Yeah, man.
It's another exciting episode, man. Another community member that we're bringing onto the show to you guys, the Ordinal and Bitcoin ecosystem community, really. So excited about today.
Yeah, man, you were just telling me you needed some new shoes. So, I mean, this is kind of perfect, right?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you're combining like two of my favorite cultures, right? You got like the meme Bitcoin culture, almost kind of like that. Was that the rare Pepe kind of culture too? Like if you go on their website, and the Counterparty culture and stuff like that and then like the J's, man, you can't go wrong with that, right? So
don't go wrong with some good as bad.
Yeah, love it.
All right, man, let's get this show started. Let's bring in Chris. Hey, what's up, Chris? Welcome to Ordinal Revolution.
Yo, Shizzy, Yagobi, what's up, guys? Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. We're really excited to hear everything. So let's kind of just get right into it, man. So on the show, we definitely want to hear about your project and all that stuff, but we like to hear from the person, because without good people, we don't really have a good project to begin with. So if you can kind of take us back as far as you can, like a little about yourself, and then kind of get into your crypto journey as well.
Yeah, sure. So I guess, pre-crypto, I got in the space 2017. So before that, I did a whole bunch of stuff, man. Just like everything, entrepreneur at heart, which means I couldn't hold a job for the life of me in the real world. But it also means I got a hell of a lot of experience, mostly working in consumer-facing technology companies, during the startup grind a bunch, working with some corporations, helping them foster entrepreneurship, working with some investors too. So seeing that side of it, just getting a full perspective on a whole bunch of things. And then, 2017, that bull run caught my attention, made me realize this Bitcoin thing is the real deal. And at that point, I was like, man, I got to get into this space, because if I don't, I'm just going to be absolutely terrible at my real world job. And it took me a few years. I was there stacking sats with my fiat job for a few years, but 2020 came along, and COVID. I was in New York City working for a later stage startup, and we all got shut down as COVID hit us. And one of the devs that I worked with, Arian, we got laid off together, and I had this idea for creating a marketplace that was, for Bitcoin goods. And I was able to talk him into creating an MVP with me. And we started grinding on that in March in 2020. And man, since then, we've just been continuing to grind and grow the business and finding new opportunities along the way and growing those.
Wow. So you were actually in kind of like thinking about like building a business model for Bitcoin specifically before this big rush with ordinals and all this stuff started bringing more attention to the Bitcoin space.
Yeah, way before. And a big part of, the ideation was, this is when the Ethereum NFT marketplaces started popping off. And I started seeing that. And, I was always more drawn to the Bitcoin side of things. It took me about a year to figure it out. But at a certain point, I was like, okay, like decentralization is going to matter here. Otherwise, you're either going to be co-opted by the state or they're going to shut you down. And Bitcoin is the only one that, as far as I can tell, is, as decentralized enough, or has a shot of like being decentralized enough. So that's where I tried to focus my attention. And as I started seeing these Ethereum things pop up, I was like, I coming from like the Bitcoin maxi side, I'm different from most Bitcoin maxis, and that I saw the value in the digital goods, the NFTs. I was always like kind of a sci-fi geek or whatever, got into Ready Player One and Snow Crash and all that. So I saw that world coming and I was like, okay, these are the building blocks, but we're going to need them on Bitcoin because, these things are going to be so valuable. You're going to want to hold them on the strongest network available, which in my mind is unquestionably Bitcoin. So yeah, that was like 2020. That's what we were thinking about. We're like, okay, what can we do to get started here, while we wait for hopefully the inevitability of these assets coming to Bitcoin in a big way. And now, to be fair, Counterparty launched in like 2014.
Yeah.
And the Rare Pepe project was 2016. There's projects before then. So and the term NFT didn't exist then, but that's what they
Yep.
were. It was digital media with pointers on the Bitcoin network. And so we started off with that, along with a lot of physical goods in the Bitcoin space, a lot of artists who focus on the physical art. We still are a big part of that. We still love that. But as we wanted to get into the digital stuff, Counterparty was there for us. And we were one of the first centralized marketplaces, auction houses to start supporting the Counterparty goods in a big way, even though the decentralized exchanges had been at it like way before us. So we were just kind of doing that, ramping up the business of the physical art and the Counterparty goods for a couple of years there. And then out of nowhere, it felt like out of nowhere this year, inscriptions came, and it's like, oh wow, okay, this really changes the game.
Yeah. What was that like, that moment for you? I guess because you're already here, you're already in like like Rare Pepes and stuff like that, which is basically what they say NFTs before NFTs. So which is pretty awesome. So like we get to inscriptions. What was that moment like for you? Like, did you just jump right in? Let me get it. Like, figure out which wallet do I need? What do I need for all this stuff? Like, what was the figuring out process for you? Like, and how'd that go?
Well, for us, it was from the auction marketplace perspective. Like, how can we start to support these things?
Okay.
As you remember, all of the trading was happening in the Discords in the early days. So we were one of the first auction houses to start auctioning off inscriptions back in like the really heady, crazy days. So that the discovery process was like, okay, how do we escrow these things? Like,
gotcha. So you guys are right in it. Like, was that pretty much what, January, February?
I think it was late February was our first inscription auctions. But look, like, what really sets ordinal inscriptions apart in my mind, it's two things. I mean, the first one is obvious, is the media being on chain. And if you've been around the NFT game for long enough, you realize that people appreciate that. And it's kind of silly that 90+% of the NFTs on the other chains, it's just URLs pointing to media on other
AWS.
Centralized data. Exactly. So yeah, that was like, okay, whoa, okay, this is big. The media is not just on chain; it's on the Bitcoin chain. But the other part was what I think is like really the game changer, is just how developers have been drawn to it. And I think there's a lot of factors here, and I'm not a developer myself, so I can only speak kind of secondhand here. But like the tooling and the ability to work with, the infrastructure, something about it is just much more enticing to developers compared to anything I've seen before. And that's why, like, man, like, out of all the, Bitcoin or otherwise pre-crypto, crypto, whatever, everything that I've observed in my lifetime, like, I've never seen a technology just go from like 0 to 100 so fast, which, for us, actually, the marketplace is a big challenge, because it's like, oh my God, there's so much competition.
Yeah.
But it's like also just awesome to see, for Bitcoin.
Yep. And it was like not even like the traditional ways of how developers worked with, UTXO chains, like the inscription was kind of like, okay, it had happened before, but it was kind of just like, oh, this messaging system, or whatever. But now like it turned into like this full on, all these people were coming together and saying, hey, let's do something awesome, innovative. Let's help each other make this work. And that's what I saw from it. So I 100% agree with you. It's like, I've been on all the EVM chains. I started in Bitcoin, but like that was just my introduction to crypto. And then very quickly went over to the EVM side. But, for someone like you, man, I got to give you props because like you were here early whenever, like, I mean, it's not necessarily like the busiest, Counterparty definitely made their, their stamp, no pun intended, but like, because like stamps left Counterparty, right? They were there and then they left.
That's a whole thing. And I mean,
do you have a soft spot? Do you have a soft spot for Counterparty because it kind of was there for you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I love Counterparty. I'm a big part of the community there. I love the rare Pepes. Like to me, the rare Pepe, there'll never be another project like rare Pepes where like, I mean, that's a whole story. We can get into it if you want, but it's it's just like the immaculate conception that happened there, and it was like not about the money at first. Like that's something that will never be recreated again, and the memes are just amazing. Yeah. So I definitely have a soft spot for Counterparty, but in my heart of hearts, my loyalty is to Bitcoin. So anything that's good for Bitcoin, I'm very happy to see.
100%. Do you see Counterparty working its way back into like the Bitcoin ecosystem, being like a major player, like in terms of volume and stuff like that?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think that's yet to be decided. As you alluded to, there's a whole bunch of drama right now in the Counterparty community, and with some of the infrastructure sticking with more of the traditional ways of doing things, and others breaking off into the stamps. I'm not like 100% dialed in, so I can't say I have like an informed opinion on that. There's clearly interest in the stamps. You can certainly make an argument that the stamps are more permanent than the ordinal inscriptions, right?
Non-prunable, right?
Non-prunable, like, if anything were to happen to ordinals, which I haven't seen a strong case for that personally, but I'm not a dev, certainly not like a Bitcoin core dev. If anything were to happen, stamps seems like they'd be way harder to shut down. So, there's certainly something to be said for that. But we'll see, man. I think no doubt like projects like Rare Pepes will, as you start to draw timelines, there are many timelines that start there, and even before Counterparty in general. We'll see where it goes in the future, man. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Awesome. All right, man. Let's kind of get into your projects here. So, just what was the first project that you got into over here? Was it more Scarce.City, or was it what else was it?
Yeah, so we started off with Scarce.City,
okay.
And Scarce.City, what makes it unique is really our auction system, and to participate in an auction with us, you don't need to register. Like, this is before wallet sign-ins or anything like this. You just need a little bit of Bitcoin, and you deposit a small amount of Bitcoin with your bid, like 1% of your bid. And the idea is that keeps you accountable for actually paying your bid if you win the auction. And that's why we don't need you to like create an account or like obviously like KYC or anything like that. We make it as light touch as possible and as easy to bid as possible, as long as you have a little bit of Bitcoin. And especially if you're using Lightning Network, you're not paying fees, you're paying minimal fees to deposit that collateral with us, and you're just up and running and bidding.
That's really cool. So,
dude, I like Sorry, I was gonna say I like that GI Pepe, man. It's so dope. It's like so are these like floor prices, or these are just like one of ones, right? That we're looking at.
So what I'm seeing here is our Bitcoin racing drop right now.
Which one are you looking at?
Sorry. I was just on the homepage, and then if you go to the home here, let me show you what I'm talking about real quick. It looks like more like art, and that's what kind of drew me kind of into this part right here, where you can see this. This seems like more like an art piece. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a rare Pepe right there.
Yeah. So these are all the rare Pepes are all one of ones, right?
No, there's very few one of ones in rare Pepes. Most of them are multiple editions.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Sorry, Shizzy, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I was just
It's all good, man.
thrown off by
I
that.
actually glad you did, because I didn't see this part when I went to it. I guess I went to rate the drop details. But this is actually some really cool stuff on here. So this was before Ordinals, right? A lot of this stuff.
A lot of it's before, a lot of it's ongoing. Scarce.City is meant to be a destination for all Bitcoin art and collectibles. So it's physical stuff, it's digital stuff, it's merch, Bitcoin trading cards, a bunch of other stuff on there. I guess you clicked on something that shouldn't have been there.
Gotcha.
That's a stamp. I guess that's a dead link to a stamp. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, you see some stamps there in the marketplace. So we do the drops, which are like the scheduled, mostly auctions, but we have a couple different formats there, and we also have the marketplace for the fixed price goods.
Gotcha. So, like, for this, do you just connect your wallet? I see there's a login.
There's no wallet connection. You actually don't have to log in. If you want to bid on something, you'll be prompted to deposit a small amount of Bitcoin, and again, that's your collateral. Assuming you pay your winning auction bid, you get that sent back to you over Lightning, and then it just goes from there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it looks like you can submit offers, purchase. So this is kind of I feel like, remember when we had Jake Gallen on and he was walking us through like the history of like NFTs basically with the rare Pepes? I feel like this is a lot of the stuff that he was kind of going over with us. So that page that Shizzy was on with the racing, so those are physical goods that you guys are retailing here too, right?
Yeah. So Bitcoin Racing, this is a race car team based in the UK. They're actually doing big races, and their cars are just splattered with Bitcoin logos and sponsored by Bitcoin companies. And they're taking Bitcoin to a huge normie audience of racing fans. So we're just this is one of our weekly drops. We're just doing some really cool stuff, like really cool like merch and a helmet and some crash gear and a simulation you can do with them to support those guys and help them raise some money so they can continue spreading the good word for us.
That's so awesome. That's really cool. You guys are doing that for these guys, man. That's and especially they're giving away some cool stuff. I mean, that Bitcoin hoodie is pretty awesome. Bitcoin Racing, might have to purchase one of those, man.
Absolutely.
So who are the actual sponsors? Is that you guys?
No. You'd have to look, to be honest. I'm not totally in tune with who all their sponsors are.
That's awesome. So basically it's just like the maxi community probably putting up, wanting to get Bitcoin out there to, like you said, to audiences that normally couldn't get to. So that's awesome, man.
Go to real quick. Go to marketplace. Go to cards. This is something up your alleyway, Yagobi.
Yeah,
this is really
I saw
cool.
some of this. Yeah, I'm convinced that like the traditional collectible card industry is going to move over to Bitcoin, like more specifically Ordinals, because the fact that you can add that layer of value with rare sats and stuff like that. And, with sports, like you can literally inscribe a digital basketball rookie card on that player's like draft day, with the sat that goes to that. So yeah, my family's into it. And so, it really excites me. How do the cards do on your marketplace?
They do really well, man. They have a super strong community. The team behind it is top notch. They've just done an incredible job bringing together, like some of the most influential people in Bitcoin, getting them behind the project. People love trading cards. I mean, like what you're talking about, like it's just like the most classic collectible of all time. And it's translating well to Bitcoin. You should see these guys at the big Bitcoin conferences and they're selling their packs. It's just like always a mob around their table degenning on traded cards and like ripping packs. It's wild.
And so it's like a physical tangible cards too.
These are physical cards. Yeah, it's like the full pack opening experience.
That's awesome, man.
I'm gonna get a Greg Voss and then have him write idiots on it for me.
Dylan Leclerc, that's funny. Oh God, you gotta get rid of this one guy.
Who's that?
Get rid of that one.
Kaiser's all right. He's a maxi. Gotta respect the max. He's gotta respect.
Yeah, he was a maxi for MaxCoin. No, I'm just kidding. We're not gonna go down that. Yeah. But
all right, let's get into the next thing. So what gave you the idea for PEPE Flyers, and what is it all about?
I mean, you know, I told you a story how we're big into Pepe's, and you know, it's just something about that frog, man. People can't get enough of it, and artists want to create their own type of Pepe's, and the community is, you know, it's bigger than Bitcoin in many ways. It's everywhere, and it actually predates, you know, Bitcoin and all of that. Like Pepe is the strongest and original meme of the internet. People were sharing Pepe memes on MySpace. So it just has an amazing story. And I just think it's, you know, we just love it. It's like strongest meme, you know, now when we think going into the future. And again, looking at what people like to collect, you know, they like trading cards, they like shoes. So at a certain point, it was just like, man, we need to create a Pepe shoe brand. This is just the right opportunity. And not only is it physical shoes, but they're also, you know, digitized. And the tongue of the shoes, we have an NFC chip that acts as a wallet. And we actually launched our first pair of shoes. It was like right as Ordinal mainnet was dropped. So we definitely weren't ready for Ordinals then. So the original V1 shoes, they hold a counterparty token, which, you know, acts as your certificate of authenticity. You can scan it. You could do the token gated experiences and all that. But now, you know, with Ordinals, we're realizing, okay, there's a lot of really cool things we can do with inscriptions here. So for example, our latest shoes, the V2s, they come with a one-of-one Ordinal inscription, and it's serialized. You know, you got a number on your shoe, and that number is also in your inscription that's actually held on the shoe. And look, it's you know, it's functionally a wallet. It's a Bitcoin wallet. It's an Ordinal wallet. So you can throw all types of Ordinals inscriptions on there if you want to. So we're like really just scratching the surface of what's possible here. And what gets us really excited is seeing what's happening in the bitmap space and seeing how we can, you know, evolve this brand into the virtual world. Right.
So real quick, what do you mean by the shoe is a wallet? Like, can you walk us through that?
Yeah. So in the tongue, in the left tongue, shoe, the tongue of the left shoe, there's a chip, and it's NFC enabled, and it has, you know, it's a Bitcoin wallet, and you can generate, you know, public Bitcoin address. And you can send assets to it, and you can also withdraw assets from it. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of cool things here you can do here. You can just use it as a wallet. You can store Bitcoin on there if you want. You can store your inscriptions. You can store your counterparty assets. But it also acts as like a certificate of authenticity, right? Like there's so much. That's like you know, the traditional use case here is like there's so much forgery and high end. Whatever clothing, physical items.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can scan the shoe and you see that it holds the token, which has limited supply and has provenance back to us. And you know, with 100% certainty that this is the real deal.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the best part is I can pay with Bitcoin to buy shoes, right? Like that. Right. How cool is that, dude? That's so. I always wanted to, like. I recently bought a horror wallet with Bitcoin, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Now I can go buy shoes. This is awesome.
Absolutely, man.
So the token that's associated with it, is it a BRC20 or what token standard is it?
So the inscription on there, it's a recursive inscription, right? So we have the parent that has kind of the general media, and then we superimpose the serial number through the recursive.
Gotcha. So like number 142, basically.
Yeah.
Right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're giving provenance to the shoe, saying that the original creator of the shoe goes to that inscription. So like you said, you can authenticate it.
Right. Yeah. So it's like parent child. So all of the, the edition numbers are the children. And once it's fully minted out, we can, effectively burn that parent so that no more children can be minted.
Wow.
Dude, like you got it integrated good into Ordinals, man. I like it. How long have you been working on this project for?
We kicked this off the V1s about a year ago. And we just dropped our second pair of shoes. In between, I'm bringing this up because we were talking about trading cards. We actually dropped some trading cards too. And it's same idea of the physical with the digital. It's a physical pack of cards, limited edition cards, but in that pack of cards is a Sats card which, if you're familiar, is basically a wallet that looks like a credit card, and that Sats card holds your tokens. And in this case, we were launching it with Counterparty, but there's nothing to stop us from actually putting inscriptions on that Sats card, and the inscriptions could match the physical cards that you're opening in your pack. So it's like the physical and digital trading cards into one.
That's so cool. So you mentioned one of our favorite topics, bitmaps. How are you guys integrating bitmaps into this?
Man, so this is a crazy story. The first bitmap, like 1.bitmap, was actually auctioned with us back in, I don't know the date, but whenever the project launched earlier in the year.
It was like July, yeah.
June. Late June.
Yeah. Sometime over the summer. It went for 0.014 Bitcoin. This was like this was before.
Yeah, it was before it got hype.
It was before anyone knew about it.
That was Batoshi, right?
Batoshi auctioned it off with us. He auctioned off with us. 0.014.
What?
Yeah.
Drop in a bucket these days.
no one had ever heard of it. And he even got in our chat and he was like explaining it. And to be honest, like it went over my head. I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on here. And I guess a lot of other people didn't understand either. They didn't see the value here. And to be honest, like it took me a while. Like I was late. And it was only like about a month ago where I started understanding better what makes this unique. I had looked at other metaverse projects in the past on Ethereum, just out of curiosity. Again, as a kind of a sci-fi geek, like I see the future here, but it was clear that no one else had quite figured it out. And seeing what bitmaps did with the fair launch, and most importantly, I think it's kind of like a meta protocol for land that anyone can build an experience on top of. To me, that, like, once I finally put that together, I was like, oh my God, like this is it. Like, it's impossible to ask for a single corporation like Decentraland or Sandbox or whatever to come up with the perfect experience. But when you have this open, land protocol that anyone can build an experience on top of, and you can have just this massive primordial soup of experimentation, it's like, okay, like that's how we figure it out. Like that's how we figure out what can be special here is by just making it as easy as possible for anyone to screw around with. So once I finally like grasped my head around that, it took me a long time, man. I'm embarrassed to say, but it was a huge light bulb moment for me. I'm like, this is it. Like this, I guess anything can happen, but I'm totally bought into it. Like, it makes a ton of sense to me. It's super early. It's going to take a long time, because it doesn't have that corporation and it's grassroots. But, the land is inscribed on the Bitcoin blockchain. That ownership is not going away. And it's just crazy, man. Like, it's like crazy looking at these stats now, and there's like 31,000 holders. Is there any, I was trying to think, is there any other NFT project anywhere in crypto that has 31,000 holders? Like, that's an installed user base that just anybody can plug into. You launch a game and you have 31,000 users out the gate who are like incentivized to, use your app, play your game, whatever it may be. And of course, like, it's still so early, like that's going to just skyrocket over time. So it just gives me like, I'm just like so optimistic about the future of this project now.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like Bitmap taught me like how strong consensus can be, right? Because like, yes, it had to make sense in the beginning to a certain group of people. It's kind of like Bitcoin actually, right? And then once
Right.
that consensus gets bigger and bigger and stronger, you can make it work. But to your point, the reason why I think like this is what's going to really make the metaverse successful is because, like you said, it's an open protocol to where there's multiple builders now that are going to compete with each other to whoever produces the best is going to win. And there'll be multiple probably winners because it's open source, right? Versus a centralized, like we know best because we studied the market, the gaming market for like 10 years. Well, that doesn't mean that just you got that one shot, then you got to pivot and it's going to cost all this money. Open protocol is going to be the best way to make it work because so many different builders.
Exactly. And you know, the first like big hit on this is it's probably not going to be what we expect. It's probably not going to look like whatever Minecraft or Fortnite. It's probably going to be something we can never have guessed. Just like something that just like looks bizarre but super fun, super addictive, whatever, like gets the degen thing going, whatever it takes, but like people are into it. And you know, I saw like the BMP drop, and it's like, well, that's like a really interesting use case. Like you can do basically an airdrop that's specific to this community. Like that's, you know, that's like a pretty novel concept. And that's kind of like maybe like the first real use case here is like being able to airdrop a specific community and, you know, reward different members based on, you know, the traits of the land that they hold. So I'm just like, I'm really excited to see like how that plays out. Cause again, I don't think it's going to be what we expect. I think it's going to be a long time until we get to that, whatever, Ready Player One, or even just like Fortnite comparable experience. It's got to be something that's like unique to what's possible with bitmaps.
Yeah. And I think that's the best part about bitmaps is like, so it's not just going to be one thing. It's going to be many different things. Like you have, Foxy building something, you have IMSO Chris building something, you have, you have BRC 420 building something, and then Bitoshi and Track, they're all building something. So so basically all these things are all going to be token gated by your bitmap, by your land. You're going to be able to do many different things by just holding one piece of land. And then that to me is a selling point once I realized that it's not just, one company building, it's potentially tens or hundreds in the future.
Yeah. So. And look, no one wants to be just part of a walled garden corporate ecosystem. You know, even if it's like an awesome game, like it doesn't feel good, especially for builders. Like they don't want to build on top of that. They know that's only a matter of time till they get rug pulled. So you gotta have this, you gotta have the open source nature, like the uncontrolled nature, the totally decentralized nature. So it's just I think there's a really strong foundation here.
Awesome. So you guys are integrating this into Pepe's? How?
Yeah, PEPE Flyers. We got big plans, man. First step, full credit to you guys for putting out that tutorial on how to create the 2D BRC20 avatars. We've got a PEPE Flyers pet that's out there ready to be deployed. So look out for that. We're trying to think about the best way to put that out there. And we just want to build, we ultimately what we want to build here is like, fully fledged digital and physical brand, and you have that tethered nature where you have the physical item and it also is tethered to the digital world, and you can use it in that digital world and, in whatever way all of the cumulative builders and bitmaps enable. So, we're going to be building with the ecosystem here, starting with like the super rudimentary stuff. We'll be moving our way to the 3D assets here soon. And, just take it day by day. Like it's such a learning experience, right? Like you see what other people are doing and you feed off of it, and who knows where it'll go. Our first, actually, our next step is we want to secure our own bitmap. For PEPE Flyers, which I actually put out a tweet just yesterday. We're looking for a PEPE bitmap. That's what we're looking for. So we put a call out to the community, and we've gotten some great responses so far. I definitely have some prospects here that I'm like itching to pull the trigger on, but I want to like give it a little bit more time, just make sure we're not missing something potentially better. But we may be one. I don't know. You guys probably know. Like we may be one of the first companies to put a bitmap on our balance sheet.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think Expectar did, but I don't know if officially they did. But
They're selling them, ain't they? They're selling them as land.
well, I think
actually holding.
I don't know. I don't know if they're holding that a lot that they got. But I mean, in terms of this market, 100%, you guys are the first. And when you have the tangible mixed with the digital, and I love it, man. I love it because there's nothing really. I mean, you got Bitcoin sneakers, right? They're cool. They've been around for a while, but like, I haven't seen it to where like I love your site for PEPE Flyers. It's really just clean. Yeah. The marketing is fresh, like perfect, like the way the website flows and stuff. I'm a digital marketer by trade, so every day that's what I do for my job. So it's gonna be exciting, man. Especially if you guys are gonna be incorporating this in the bitmap. I want to see more of this kind of stuff.
For sure.
So. Absolutely, man. I think this is going to be the future for all brands on a long enough timeline. So hopefully, we're getting in early on the trend here. And it's really just a testament to bitmap. Like when you see something with such a strong foundation with so much promise, like it just as a builder, as a company, like you are incentivized to hop on that train. Yeah. And at the same time, help grow the ecosystem in any way we can.
Yeah, man. So like, I'm so happy like we kind of found you guys, because like this type of stuff needs to be spotlighted, because I had no idea this even existed. Obviously, I know what a damn node monkey is, but this is like really freaking cool. And this stuff isn't really like coming to the mainstream, I guess you could say, for ordinals. So what is your plan to really kind of push the ticket, to really put yourself out there?
Yeah, so what we're planning here is a campaign or a giveaway, let's say. So we have our different labels for our shoes here, and our most exclusive label, it's 21 edition. We held one of these pairs to give away, and we want to give it away to the bitmap community. And the way we plan to do it is also by essentially giving away our first 2D BRC 420. So we have something planned here real soon. Most likely going to be like a raffle type situation where you buy the BRC 420 for a super cheap price, and one winner gets the actual physical gold label 21 edition shoe. And along with that participation, we want to white label participants into our next shoe drop, which we want to be crafted specifically for the bitmap community. Physical shoe, bitmap themed shoe, believe it or not, but also comes with the digital part too, which, we have some crazy ideas here, not yet confirmed, so I can't say it, but like that, let's just say the next step and a bitmap type item that we can create paired with the physical shoe.
Awesome. Man, as a collector, I love this. So like the version 2 PEPE Flyer, how many total are there?
So there's no set supply. We have different labels. The gold label is 21 editions. The green label, I believe, is 74 editions. And that's what we just dropped a couple of weeks ago. So, from there, each label will have a set supply, but we're not saying that there's only going to be 1,000 V2s. We'll see. We'll take it as we go. But they're all serialized. So they're all essentially one of ones, right? They're serialized on the physical shoe. You have your number written on the tongue, and you have your inscription that's actually held on the shoe. That's your one of one serialized inscription.
So I imagine that you kept number 1.
No, I would never do that. Wow, man. I got 66. I came in at 66. I want
number 1. Who's got number 1? No,
I want our
that's
true
gonna
fans.
cost too much.
I want our true fans to get a shot at the really sought after ones.
Is there a max number to this?
Not that we've determined yet, you
Okay.
know, but at any point we could burn those parents and that's it, you know, so we'll see.
Gotcha.
Just the collectability side of it just gets me really excited. So if let's say I pick up a pair, what do I get with it? I get the inscription. Do I get like 3 Velcro switch outs, or how does that work?
Yeah, so of course you get the shoes, you get the wallet with the shoes that holds your, you know, your one of one inscription, also holds the OG counterparty token. And yeah, we have booster packs because as you saw there, there's Velcro on the inside of these shoes. So we had you know, with the first drop, we did a fake rare booster pack, which if you're familiar is a rare PEPE offshoot. So it has some of the fake rare memes on there. And we have a bunch of other collaborations planned for future booster packs with, you know, artists in the space, some of our favorite PEPE artists. But what we're thinking here is a bitmap booster pack. So imagine, you know, it could be just as simple as like different sized orange blocks that you can just throw on your shoe and, you know, create your own bitmap on your shoe, something like that.
Our logo is a bitmap. That would look really good on a shoe as well.
Special edition. No, I'm definitely doing the mint for the 2D pet.
Yeah, man.
I'm getting a little too hyped for this though.
Yeah, I like it.
This is fun stuff, man. Like this is like the stuff I really enjoy working on.
Is there anything we missed about the project?
I think we hit on it all, man. You know, it's just it's so early, and we're like, you know, we're playing with the surface area that we see with what's possible. But as this whole space just blows up, there's just going to be more cool things we can do. On PEPE Flyers, we ultimately want to be that physical and digital brand. Like, I love the digital stuff, you know, like people love the digital stuff, but I also want to like have something in IRL that I can touch and feel and, you know, show off to my normie friends, right? So we're trying to give you the best of both worlds with PEPE Flyers.
Could you imagine like walking down, like let's just say the Bitcoin conference in Nashville and seeing somebody wearing those, like, yo, like that'd be like, or seeing someone randomly in public?
I'm sure you will.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, it would just be such a cool experience being like, and just like, that guy's gonna make it, right? Like, that guy wearing those shoes, he's gonna make it, right? So,
oh yeah, it's a trip wearing these out in public, man. You get all types of looks. So I mean, people love them.
Yeah, man. You get any bitmappers, or not bitmappers, but Bitcoiners, like, yeah, like knowing what they are?
We haven't gotten to that point yet. That'll be a look. I mean, the exception, of course, is we wear them to like conferences and stuff.
Yeah,
and people know them there, but like out in real world public, have not been recognized yet. That'll be a special moment for sure.
Yeah, because I wear like a Bitcoin shirt, Bitcoin hat. And you see someone and they just point to it, and you both do the nod, like we're both gonna make it, buddy. But
that's right.
But so how do you feel about ordinals like going forward? Like, do you think, like, obviously, you know, we had a down period of time, and right now we're kind of just hitting flat, waiting for Bitcoin's next move. Where do you see like ordinals in a year from now? Are we like really mainstream at that point?
I mean, that's the ultimate question, right? It's been so crazy to watch from like the early days. It was all about the early inscription number, right? And for a while there, it was all about the early inscription number, to the point where I was like, well, we got to find something else here. Otherwise, the early inscription numbers aren't going to be worth anything either, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, we found a whole lot of things since then. You know, the BRC20 thing is not particularly my thing, because we try to focus on, you know, the art. But obviously that's struck a chord, man. Like people obviously are drawn to it, and it's created big things. I'm excited to see if there's like real utility that comes out of that. Like, can we move beyond meme coins here? Like, meme coins are cool. Like, I get that, but how many do you really need? So I think that's like the real chasm to cross here is like, can we do more than just like memes?
Yeah.
And create something like productive here. And definitely there are people working on that. And, you know, I've learned from you guys, and I'm sure you guys are the real experts here, but I think that's the real like test for the year ahead is like, can there be more here? Be like on on the bitmap side, like I think we're going to see an explosion of different app developers, different game developers creating these new experiences. I'm super stoked to see what people do with the BRC 420 protocol to, create more wearables, avatars, like, just the full experimentation of the in-game, in-experience assets that can, add to these worlds. So that's where I'm most bullish for sure, because it's like that's one place where I feel like we are moving into real utility, and I'm calling like the metaverse utility, because I think it's a social environment, and that's obviously that my personal fascination and where I think we can play the biggest role. For there's so much going on here, man. You kind of got to pick an area and focus. So like I'm just not going to keep up. I'm not going to be able to keep up with everything. And I'll listen to you guys. You'll give me the rundown, and like you'll let me know when I got to pay attention to something. But I want to just focus on the bitmap space personally, and what we can do to, because that's the area, that's the place where we can add value. So that's where my head will be at.
And I think it's actually a smart place to kind of stick to, and then like if something else comes up, then you'll know if it's big enough, you'll hear about it. But to your point about BRC 20s, that struck a chord. What BRC 20s really showed me was that people wanted tokens, fungible tokens on Bitcoin layer 1, no matter how the UI was. Because if you think about this, let's say there was a new chain that just started up last year, and their fungible token standard was like BRC 20s. That shit's not gonna it wouldn't have lasted more than 10 minutes. But because it was on Bitcoin, you had the Chinese community, the Asian community, everybody, and then even like the Western communities, everybody was like, oh my God, tokens on Bitcoin. And then some people were like, but eventually what happened was that liquidity just built up, the market cap started building up. And then it got to a point to where like people just wanted layer 1 assets, right? Whether that's a bitmap, rare sats, collections, early inscriptions, fungible tokens, ARC20s. Now it's like, I actually think Bitcoin layer 1 asset, if it falls into that category as a definition, is highly sought after. No matter what, it's highly sought after. Obviously some are going to do better than others, but I think we're in a great place, and I think people are regretting it, the ones that didn't come over 6 months to a year ago.
Yeah,
well, for sure. I can raise my hand on that one. Many regrets, like faded so many things that I wish I wouldn't have faded.
You were building.
Pays to be early adopters here.
Yeah, but you were heads down building. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, even us, we faded some things that we heavily regret. You know what I mean? So it happens to everyone. But what you guys built here is freaking awesome, and I can't wait to. Honestly, I'm probably gonna buy a pair of these sneaks. I'm not even joking, but just so I can wear them in Nashville. But yeah, man. But it's been an absolutely amazing episode. We really appreciate your time. This is kind of part of the show where we kind of give you the stage, talk to our community. You can say whatever you want. The stage is yours.
Yeah, much appreciated, guys. This has been such a pleasure. Look, anyone who's into bitmaps and into sneakers, whether in the physical or digital world, definitely check out PEPE Flyers. Sign up for the email list. Sign up join our Discord. Follow us on Twitter. All that. We're planning some big things for the bitmap community here, so definitely stay tuned. And we want to. For the people who join early, like we want to reward you, man. We want to give you like the free stuff early to pay our dues. So definitely pay attention to the channels and see what we're dropping.
Hey man, pays to be early. Always pays to be early, for sure.
In this space, for sure.
Well, thanks, Chris. Hang out for a second, but we'll see you in a little bit.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right.
Well, That was awesome, dude. I highly enjoyed that. I love conversations with people like him where you just like back and forth, man, and it's fun, it's exciting, and his product is freaking phenomenal. Like, it's really
Well, I
cool.
feel like my brain like shrinks to like a 8-year-old kid again when I get into the collectibles, like excitement and energy,
Yeah.
and like I'm like, oh crap, like I'm on a podcast right now. I can't act all giddy, But it did make me like honestly, like when I thought about that, if you look in my closet right now, I got like J's stacked up,
Yeah.
But I guard my house very well. No, I'm just kidding. Like when I was seeing the PEPE Flyers, I was like, I probably wouldn't wear it. Like I'd probably get a couple because I want to put the ones that are more rare in my closet, and then I would wear the least rare one to like the conference, right?
For
In
sure,
Nashville and stuff, because that's just the collector in me, though, right? So I love this. This is what makes Bitcoin to me stand out now, that we have like that this is just another layer of value, right?
Yep.
And the chip as well that leads to the wallet, all that stuff, the parent child, like there's people that are going to come in and watch our show for the first time. They're like, parent child, what is that? But you need to learn about it, man, because it's gonna do you well in the future if you learn before these other people that try to come to the space. So
yeah, we should probably do an episode about that. Maybe we'll have an expert to come on and could really kind of explain that stuff, because that would be a really good idea. Yeah, man. But to your point, like, like it feels like being a kid again with this type of stuff. Open that pack of Pokemon cards. That was like my thing, my collecting thing. So brings that back, and I could do it. My favorite thing in the world right now, which is the bee. So it's really awesome.
For sure.
But guys, that's our show. Please like the video. Please hit the sub button. We really appreciate every single view. If you cannot watch, you can definitely listen. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on all streaming platforms. We really appreciate you guys so much. And that's the show.
Yep. Don't forget, we have our membership. Check it out. If you're interested, join. If not, you get to look inside our brains and see what we're thinking. But other than that, man, we appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man, definitely check out ordinalrevolution.com. We put out some of the best articles in Ordinals, in my opinion, but I'm biased. So, but thank you, guys.
Peace.
Ordinal Revolution. Let's go.